If you're dealing with back pain and you're wondering, did I herniate a disc or is my disc involved? Should I go get an MRI? Those are very common questions that everyone who has back pain or leg pain is really struggling to deal with. My name is Rob Drenning. I'm a physical therapist. I'm going to tell you how to test at home first before you need to go get an MRI. MRIs are expensive to you and to our healthcare system. And we have some research showing us that if you get an MRI early with back or leg pain, your outcomes can actually be worse. And the reason is because it can show a lot of scary stuff. It instills some fear in us, and we just tend to not do as well. So going to get an MRI with back or even back and leg pain for sciatica symptoms, it's not the first line of defense. So I'm going to show you now how to test at home to see if the disc is involved in the pains that you're feeling. First, we need to clear up a few terminology misconceptions that are out there. Basic anatomy review of the disc, it has two components to it. One is the outer layer called the annulus fibrosus. It's the strong sort of ligaments that holds the disc together. The inner is the softer, more jelly-like material called the nucleus, or the nucleus pulposus. Now, you hear all the time people saying a slip disc or something like that, and it's a little bit of a misnomer because nothing really slips out of place most of the time. We have general stages of what's called a disc herniation. The first one is called a prolapse or a disc bulge. It just means that the outer portion of the disc is still intact, but the inner portion moved around in there a little bit, and part of the disc is bulging away from its normal border. Disc bulges are very normal. There's some research to suggest that 60 to 80% of people, depending on what decade of life you're in, will have disc bulges, but no pain whatsoever. Oftentimes, they're just considered like wrinkles on the inside, basically. They can be painful, but they're an early stage something that you see in a lot of people, often not correlated to your pain. When the outer portion tears, that's when disc herniations can become more painful. That's called an extrusion, meaning the inside part of that disc is now come out past the border of the annulus of the outer discs. And if that goes on for a while, part of that inner disc can become completely separated, and that's called a sequestration. So those are the basic phases of a disc herniation. And this test at home is going to help us tell if the disc is involved in creating our pain. As part of that disc moves out, it can push on nerves and create a lot of symptoms either in your low back or in your leg. The test we're going to do now is called the straight leg raise test. And it's just like it sounds. It's meant to be a passive test. So you're going to use a strap or a rope. I have a band here I'm going to use to raise your leg up and down. So I'm going to show you that right now. So let's say that there are two possible scenarios here. One is just pain in your back. We want to know if your disc is contributing to that pain. And number two is more sciatica type symptoms, pain down the leg. Both can be useful with this test, but the interpretation will be a little bit different. We'll go over that in a minute, but first let me show you the test. So what you're going to do is lay on your back. And then you're going to take your strap or your band or whatever it is and put it around the bottom of your foot. Some people use a belt. Whatever you have at home is totally fine. And what you want to do is first, you don't want to be pulling your toes up like that, okay? You want to keep your ankle kind of relaxed and use your arms. So I need to get a lot of tension out of this band. You want to use your arms to raise your leg like that. If your band is too stretchy, you're just not going to have enough pull. You need to be able to relax that leg. If you can't relax it, find something firmer like a rope or a belt. And you're going to raise your leg straight up until you start to feel your pain. It might be in your back, it might be in your leg. But typical pain will come on between about 30 degrees and 70 degrees. Right about there, probably. I've got to bend a little because my leg hamstrings are tight. But if you get pain way up here, that's not considered a positive test. I can't even get my leg up there. Okay? So you're going to lift that leg straight up passively and see if you feel pain in your leg or if you're getting pain in your back. Now, if that test is negative, the straight leg raise test on that side is what we call a sensitive test. Meaning if that's negative, you can be pretty confident that the disc is not the main driver of your pain. But it's not a very specific test. So if it's positive, we can't say for sure that the disc is the cause of the pain, But what we want to do to help us rule that out is to test the other side too, because that can give us a little bit more information. So we repeat the exact same thing on the non-painful side. Oops. On the non-painful side, you raise that leg, keeping your ankle relaxed, using your arms to do the work. If that produces pain on the side of your back that you're having pain or in that leg, then we have both legs that are positive. If both are positive, then we can be much more confident knowing that the disc is the source of that irritation. And when we're testing the painful side, we put tension through the whole nerve from your back all the way down to your leg. So that's why we can't tell just by testing the painful side where the irritation is coming from. It might be the disc in there, but we have to rule that in and confirm it by doing the other side too. If the other side is positive, then we can be much more confident that the disc is involved as a pain generator for your leg or your back. Now, if you have pain in your back, just testing the painful side is good enough. If your pain is right in the middle, test both legs. A positive on either side could indicate that the disc is involved. If you have pain down the leg, you need to test both sides for sure. And if both are positive, then you can be more confident in that the disc is involved for you. But what does that mean? If it's negative, great. You just have back pain or leg pain that's caused by something else in there, and you can usually manage those well conservatively. What if you have a disc herniation now? What do you think? Do I need to go get an MRI? What should I do? What you need is just some help from a guided professional right now. Conservative treatment is indicated. I've seen huge disc herniations just go away with conservative treatment. There's not a lot of studies on that, but a few. You just need the right information and the right exercises and movements to do that help hydrate the disc and promote that healing process. So keep watching to check some of those out for how you can heal your own discs at home.